All right, so okay, all praise to Yahweh Shem and Mashiach Yahushua. This is the Hebrew chosen elect under the martial law Yeshua Allah. And this is the Most High's high holy day, the Shabbat. And we're in the season of the first fruits. So at sundown, we're celebrating the first fruits, all right, the day of Pentecost. Okay, I know that, some Israelite camps may have an issue with what day it's on. So it's either sundown tonight. I know some may be doing it sundown next week, but we're still in that season. Okay, that's why we got to come together to get the days of the high holy days straight. But it's a work in progress. But with the Spirit of the Most High, Yahweh Shai, the Most High gives us the knowledge and understanding on what day it is. But we know we're in that season. We're in the season of the wheat harvest. That's the season that we're in. And of course, the Most High had commanded us when He gave us His high holy days that we should have a day of first fruits, okay, which is the wheat harvest that Israel would have, all right, during the harvest of the wheat. So we want to go to Leviticus 23rd chapter, the 10th verse. Let's just start with that. But again, the high holy day, the day of Pentecost, the high holy day, the first fruits. You all know that when you read the scriptures, there was 3 high holy days that we were commanded to go up to Israel, go up to the temple. When we were in our land in Israel, Mount Zion, we were commanded to go to the temple, but there was 3 high holy days that we were specifically commanded to go up to the temple and to serve the high holy day. Anybody know what high holy days those were? Yeah, Colonel.
Passover, Pentecost, and Atonement.
No. No. Tabernacles, right. Okay. Those are the 3. So Passover, first fruits, and Feast of Tabernacles. Those 3, especially all the males, were commanded to go up to the temple. The other high holy days, you didn't have to go up to the temple necessarily. Yeah. So, I mean, again, he mentioned the Day of Atonement. If you wanted to, yeah, you can, but you didn't necessarily have to. But those 3 high holy days, you had to go up to the temple. You had to. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Most High was a commandment. Okay, So, going to show you that these high holy days, the first fruit is just as important as the Passover. I know we tend to look at the Passover as like the biggest high holy day there is. I'm going to tell you, to me, I think the Sabbath is the biggest high holy day there is. The Sabbath. You know why? Because that's the first high holy day the Most High gave us, right? Reading Genesis, right?
Right.
And the Sabbath is a high holy day. It is, to me, it's the biggest one. It's the greatest one. Right? Most high holy day is the Sabbath. But, of course, we have the other high holy days, the ceremonial law, of course, the Passover. I tell you what, start with Deuteronomy 16:1. Start with that, then we go to Leviticus 23:10. Okay? Because they're all important, man. Every high holy day is important. You have high holy days that, because we're in our captivities here throughout the regions of the earth, that we don't necessarily look at. We got the day of Nicanor, right? Anybody know about those days?
Right.
That's in the Apocrypha.
That's in the Apocrypha. That's a high holy day, right? I want to ask, there were a couple of high holy days. The day of Nicanor is one, but there were a couple of high holy days that are not high holy days that the Most High gave to Israel. You know which ones those are?
Yeah. Dedication. That's one. We gave that, and we rededicated the temple to the Most High during the time of the Maccabees.
He's right. And there's one other.
Purim.
Yeah, you gotta raise your hand. Purim. Right. It means Purim means to cast lots. Right. So, because you know what happened when you read the book of Esther. What happened? The commander, the captain of the host of the army. What's his name? Haman.
Yeah.
Casted lots and wanted all of us to be hung
on the gallows. Right.
Now, when I say all of us, the Persian Empire had what? 127 provinces that they were over. America only has, how many states in America?
50.
The Persian Empire had 127. So you how big that Persian Empire was compared to what America is.
Con.
So, and they went, and all of us, of course, was in each of these provinces, right? People scattered in each of these provinces, just like we are in America. He wanted to hang all of us throughout all the provinces. Okay? So this is why when the Most High delivered us from that wicked plot,
Right.
Israel said, man, we got to make this a high holy day. The Most High delivered us. We got to make this a high holy day. Okay? And so we made it a high holy day where we praised the Most High. It's like we gave the Most High a high holy day. Other than that, the Most High gave us his high holy days that we're supposed to praise him, but we gave the Most High high holy day. And the same thing with Hanukkah also, the Feast of Dedication. So those are the high holy days. So we praise the Most High on all those high holy days. So now Deuteronomy 16:1, you read that out.
Con. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16, verse 1. Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God.
A month of Abib. What does Abib mean?
Green ears of corn.
Corn, right. And it also means, it can also mean, okay, first spring. Spring forth. Okay? It means green ears of corn. And why? Because in the spring, what happens with the ears of corn? They begin to spring forth.
Right.
Okay, so the word also means spring forth. Okay, Con? And that's how you know that what season the Passover is in. Because the Most High said in the month of Abib. Okay? In the month of Abib. So we know the month of Abib is around springtime, Con?
Right.
Because the green ear of corns begin to flourish, begin to spring forth. And that harvest, that's a harvest too. But it's not the wheat harvest. What harvest is that comes in the springtime? There's three major harvests that the Most High presented us with the high holy day. Well, you mentioned Abib, but what harvest does this particular harvest come in? It comes in Abib, but what harvest is it?
It's not the barley harvest. The barley harvest.
The barley harvest. Okay, so that's the first harvest. The beginning of the year, you have a barley harvest. Then, as we move on to the next couple of months, then the wheat harvest comes in, which is we celebrate the Pentecost. Then another couple of months go by, we have what? The end of the season harvest, which is the fruit and vine harvest. Okay. Which is called let's say the end of season harvest. Okay, the end of because you know that tabernacles, goes for 7 days. 8th day, you would have a high holy day. So those days during that harvest, we would bring everything into the storehouse. Okay,
right.
From the fruit and vine or whatever, bring everything into the storehouse and store it. Because why? Winter is about to come in.
Right.
And we would have our provisions for the wintertime. Because you're not going to do any farming or anything like that during the wintertime. So that's why it's called like the end of season harvest. Yeah.
So in other words, what you just said, it just let me see something different in the scriptures. Not only are the high holy days just high holy days, but it's like a calendar of our, agriculture.
Exactly.
Because the beginning feast day is like the beginning of the harvest, and then the tabernacles, which is kind of like the last one, is another reaping of the harvest. That's crazy.
Right.
Yep.
So that's why it was important for those 3 high holy days that you would go up to the temple, because the Most High is really blessing your household, right, and blessing your land or your farm that you have, right, with these 3 different harvests. And you would go out during the barley harvest, and you would reap the corn, reap the first fruits of it,
right,
and you would always do what? Bring the first fruits.
And
this is what we're in, right? The first fruits. To where? To the Most High.
To the Most High.
To the priest, to the temple.
Right.
And the priest would offer it up. And in your name, in your household's name, your name, all right, the Father's name, for a blessing for you and your household. Now, if you didn't bring your first fruits, what could happen? Well, that next harvest, you may not have a harvest.
Right. Yeah.
You may look out there for corn, there ain't no corn. Like, what happened? But Tazapaya, who lives next door to you, his corn is high, like 2 feet high. Tazapaya, can I borrow some corn?
Nah, 3 feet high.
Right, understand what I'm saying?
6
The
feet
Most
high.
High cursed your farm because you didn't bring the first fruit.
Right. And we paid that at the temple.
Right.
The tithes. That's part of tithes.
That's part of tithes, right.
was the tenth of your herbs and
Right.
your vegetables
So-
and your barley and all that
Exactly.
good stuff.
And so we'll go over that too. So we keep reading down. That's the first harvest, right? In the month of Bib. That was the barley harvest.
Con.
The Passover. It comes around the time of the barley harvest.
right.
Okay, go ahead, up.
Observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God. For in the month of Abib, the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night.
Okay.
Continue on.
Now jump down to the 16th verse.
3 times in a year.
How many?
3 times in a year.
How many?
3 times in a year.
Okay. And guess I'm gonna tell you what. This law still applies. This law never ended just because we're in captivity. We still should be going to the Holy Land, right? We still should be doing it. But of course, some of us don't have passports. Some of us hold child support. You can't leave the land. Some of us are criminals in jail or whatever, you're working hard or whatever, so we just, but this law still applies, right? Okay, go ahead, huh?
3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy power, and the place which he shall choose in the feast of unleavened bread.
Which is the Passover, right? Feast of unleavened bread, go ahead.
And in the feast of weeks.
This is now talking about the day of Pentecost, the first fruits, all right? Go ahead.
And in the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before the Lord empty.
Right, so each one of those high holy days, you got to bring what? You got to bring, like you said, your tithes.
You're tithing.
Meaning, not necessarily so-called, money,
Right.
but you bring your first fruits of your land.
Con.
From the barley harvest, okay, or the wheat harvest, or the first fruit harvest. Fruit and vine harvest. You would bring, and you could also bring what? You also got to bring also what? The first fruit of your cattle. I had news for you. Also the first fruit of what else? Even on a higher level. The first fruit of you. Which are who?
Your sons, your first
sons.
sons.
It's good to tell you that too. Most I said
Every
whatever
male.
come out the matrix,
Right.
firstborn, they're mine. He said, they are mine. Now you may have 10 sons, but he said that firstborn,
He's
I
got to
want
be
him.
there. Right.
I want him, right? And it means you got to bring him and offer up to the Lord. Not that you're gonna offer him up like kill him. You know what I'm saying? Offer him up. No, not that. Meaning you bring him as an offering to the Most High, and then he's gonna become a servant of the Most High. Whether he's gonna be a prophet, a priest, okay, or you know what I'm saying? However the Most High want to use him, but he belongs to the Most High.
Come.
That's what Samson's parents did, right?
Come.
Right.
Con.
Also, who else? Samuel's parents. Remember? Samuel's parents did that same thing. Okay. So, yeah, we got to do that too, huh?
Con.
Right? Because Most High said the earth is his, and the fullness is his, and the cattle upon 1,000 his is his. If I were hungry, I wouldn't tell you if I'm hungry. Well, you got to know if I'm hungry or not. Most High, you hungry? Need something to eat? No, Most High, I wouldn't tell you. But the Most High do require them sacrifice, and he loves burnt offering. He loves the what? The smell. That oxtail, that meat.
Sweet Savior.
Sweet Savior, right. You love it, right?
Yeah.
That fried
You
chicken.
like that barbecue, right?
Yeah, that barbecue, right. Yeah. That's why he said grill it, put it on the fire.
That's how you know your brother.
Your brother, right. So the Most High does like to eat, right?
Yeah.
Because
and drink wine.
Yeah.
Yahushua does.
Yahushua was a glutton. Yahushua was a glutton and a wine bibber. So, and Yahushua told Philip, he that has seen me have seen the Most High. So Yahushua was really doing what the Most High would do if the Most High came in the flesh. Most High would be drinking wine, kicking back, right? Same thing, huh? But in righteousness, of course, right?
Con.
So Leviticus 23:10.
Con. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 10. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest, and he shall wave the sheaf before Yahweh to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it.
Yeah, see? So, of course, the Christian church, they call it bringing in the sheaves. They don't even know what they're singing, but this is what they're really singing. Come, the first fruits of the Most High. Okay? And, of course, it was the first, you have to bring, when you reap your harvest, bring in that first fruit. Don't reap your harvest and go to the grill and flip some corn on there or something like that for yourself. You got to bring it to the Most High first, and have the priest offer it up. Then you go back and feed your family. Understand? It's the first fruits. That was very important. Of course, we lost all that understanding and knowledge. We don't do that now. You know what I'm saying? We don't do that. So we lost all that. How many of us pray before we even eat and ask the Most High to bless the food? Because you eat nothing but okay.
I do.
Who
pray before they eat? Y'all pray?
Yeah,
Definitely.
I got this for you. You have to. That's a commandment.
You gotta be thankful.
You gotta be thankful. That's a commandment. All right. Always thank the Most High for everything you receive.
Then on top of that, we're eating our food defiled amongst the Gentiles.
Right.
I mean, so we don't know what's in it. So we gotta pray.
Yeah, you know what's in this stuff? It's dung. It's poison. Y'all heard they poisoned that doctor, right? Rashid Buttar?
Yeah.
They poisoned him to death.
Exactly.
He was only 56 years old.
Yeah.
A world-renowned doctor,
Yeah.
but he was against the jab.
Yeah.
Against all that. He knew what was in it and all that. He said they're killing people and all that stuff. And so he was like a whistleblower. He spoke out on it.
Yeah.
I mean, hard too. I mean, he didn't hold back.
Nope.
And he said, look, if I end up dead, they killed me.
They killed me, yo.
Because I'm not suicidal.
Yep.
I'm not depressed. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm happy. I have my children. They're grown and everything. And of course, he was a doctor, so he had money and all that. So he said, if I end up dead, you know what happened. And he left that message. Sure enough, they got to him, man.
Can you say that name one more time?
Rashid Buttar. Buttar. Rashid Buttar. He wasn't, I think it was East Indian, something like that, I believe.
Yep.
But they killed him. Okay?
I thought he was Israelite. He wasn't.
No, I think it was East Indian. I believe. I think he looked like an East Indian. But still, they got to him. But if they poisoned him, and they said, he even said it before they got to him, killed him. He even said that he was poisoned with 200 times of the dose of what they put in, jab. 200 times. And he came out of it, because he had to go to the hospital and came out of it, but it was probably just too much. Probably, unless they, poisoned him again somehow.
Right.
But they got to him. Right?
Okay.
So how are they getting to us? Same method, same way. They're poisoning your food.
Water.
The water.
Water,
They
absolutely.
poison your food. The same
And your
way.
food, yep.
So we're eating defiled food amongst the Gentiles, and it's poison. All of it is poison. Okay, even the stuff that you say is organic is poison too. Because Esau knows everybody wants to go organic. He knows that. So what do you think he's going to do? He's the devil. So what's he going to do? Poison that too. Right. So why are you alive? Because the Most High is keeping you alive.
That's right.
That's the only reason. You should be dead. There's no way our bodies can handle this poison that we inject and eat every day for all the years you've been living. You should be dead. Understand? So the Most High. So again, Most High said, "I will have grace, and I want to have grace." You're alive because the Most High want you alive for now. Okay. So just think about that. So that's why you be thankful every time you about to eat, and then of course you're gonna pray over it because it's poison. You got a full plate of poison, right? So that's why you pray. All right. Okay, go ahead, Op. Okay. So it's the sheaves, right? So bring in the sheaves.
Right.
And it says, sheep of the first fruits, your harvest unto the priest, and you're going to bring it to the priest.
Right.
And the priest is going to bring it before the Most High as a first fruit offering. And in your name too.
Right.
You know, the head of your household, the father's name, in your name, because you're the head of your household, so it will mean in your name, and of course, in your name meaning your whole household, your wives, your children, everything. Come? That's a blessing, God. Okay? And we should be doing the same thing today, but of course, we can't do it on this level because we're not in the land and everything. We don't have farms and all that. We can't bring in the first fruits this way. But still, when you get paid from Esau, thank the Most High. Understand? When you're able to pay your rent, mortgage, thank the Most High. Understand?
Right.
It's still the same difference. Thank the Most High. You ever go shopping? ShopRite and pass all these places to buy food. Thank the Most High. Understand that you're able to do it. All right. Okay, go ahead, Up.
Verse 11. And he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it.
Tomorrow after the Sabbath. So what does that mean? When's the Sabbath? So-called what day?
Saturday.
So tomorrow after the Sabbath would be what day? So-called
First day of the week. Sunday.
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 Right. First fruits always fall. Okay. That last day, because you're gonna count the we're gonna read it. You're gonna count the 7 days, 7 Sabbaths, and that last day at sundown. At sundown, the Sabbath, sundown, when the sun goes down after the Sabbath, begins that first fruit, that day, the 50th day.
Con.
That's why the word Pentecost comes from where?
Penta, 5.
50.
Or 50.
50.
Yeah.
All right.
Good job.
Comes from 50. Penta. Cost. 50. Con? You may have a point there. I think 5
Yeah,
is
penta, like pentagram, right?
Yeah,
Five point.
5 points, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Penta means 5. Like
Five.
Pentagon. Like
Yeah.
Pentagon got 5 sides.
Size,
5 sides, right.
But it
But
is 50 for
It's,
us.
it's 55, right.
Pentecost is 50.
50, yeah.
Gotcha.
Understand? That's why you had the, they call the 5 books, first 5
Pentateuch.
books as what?
The Pentateuch.
The
Pentateuch.
Right.
Pentateuch. Yeah.
Derived from the word penta.
Right.
Con?
Con.
All right. So, okay, so it should fall on a Sunday. Okay. So that's why in all actuality, sundown tonight would be, the actual beginning. But because we can only get this place right now, but still, we're going over it so we get some understanding. Go ahead, Al.
Verse 12. And he shall offer that day when he waved the sheaf a he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto Yahweh.
See what we got to do in the high holy days? Do we do this? Do we offer a lamb? No, we can't do that now, right? How many of us have lambs? You should go to ShopRite and get some lamb off the shelf.
Right.
Most High ain't going to want that, right?
Con.
Don't you dare do that to the Most High. He'll kill you. He'll kill you. Don't do that, man.
Right. And
Okay.
we're behind enemy lines.
Yeah,
anyway.
well, don't do that. Remember, the human lamb was in place of this, right? Who was that? Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
Con?
He was a perfect sacrifice.
Right. So you don't have to do that now, Con.
Con.
He's that lamb that did that for you.
Right.
Right.
And that's why our bone wasn't broken. Just off the top of my
Exactly.
head.
That's why.
Because he had to be a perfect sacrifice.
Right. Exactly. Okay, go ahead, up.
Con. Verse 13. And the meat offering thereof shall be 2 tenth deals of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto Yahweh for a sweet savor. And the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, the 4th part of a hin.
How about that? See, the Most High loves to drink. He loves wine. He likes things sweet, savior. And the priest would do all this, pour the wine on there, and understand? And that smell of that, or the vibration that goes up, and the angels take that to the Most High. The Most High's like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know in the high holy days how many lambs and sheep and calves and everything was offered up, especially when the Feast of Tabernacles, right? So, can the Most High really eat? Most High can eat, bro. Right? When you read how we ate back then, we ate. Okay? I don't know all these people call themselves vegans and all that, but we ate meat, brother. You know what I'm saying? We ate some meat. Right? Read Feast of Tabernacles, how many cattle King Solomon gave, how many cattle King David gave to the priest to offer up. It was thousands of
Thousands. Yeah.
thousands. Okay, so the Most High loves that. Loves that. So just like you like the smell of it, the Most High love it too. Okay, go ahead, Al.
Verse 15. And ye shall count unto
14.
14, Slakia. And ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the selfsame day that ye have brought an offering unto your God. And
Your power.
Your power.
Yeah.
And it shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings.
Don't eat anything until you offer up to the Most High. In this case, over here in our captivities and stuff, you pray before you eat, right?
Right.
See? Always ask the Most High to bless the food and everything and pray before you eat and give the Most High thanks. Understand? All right. Okay, go ahead, Al.
And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete.
Now, what harvest is this? Say it again. What harvest is it?
Sheaf.
No.
Oh, barley harvest.
Yeah, barley. There you go.
Slakia.
So, the barley harvest, okay, from the day that he brought the sheaf, meaning your barley harvest, right, of the wave offering, from that Sabbath, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. All right? So now, remember, we're dealing now pretty much right after what? Passover.
Right.
Because this is the first fruit. Passover we would have had already, come?
Okay.
So now you're bringing your barley harvest to the priest and everything, and pretty much after that Sabbath, right after the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Cause see, we had a little issue whether it's the Sabbath right after,
Right.
or the Passover, or that Sabbath during the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Sometimes you come into the Sabbath. Let's say if the Passover fell on a Wednesday. Let's say if it fell on a Wednesday, right, Con?
Mm-hmm.
But a couple of days later, it'll be 3 days later, it'll be the Sabbath, right? That's Sabbath. Now, would you start? And this is the problem that we issue with. Will we start our count from the 7th Sabbath at that point, or do we wait till after the Feast of Unleavened Bread ends? Con? And that was the issue. That's the issue that we're dealing with. But the Most High, He don't give us the right understanding. But that was the issue. So again, but still, that's when you start your count, because you got to count 7 Sabbaths. Con? You got to count 7 Sabbaths.
49 days.
There you go. 7 times 7 is what?
49.
49
plus 1.
plus 1.
Even though you got a double Sabbath in some of them, some high holy days you got double Sabbaths that week.
Well, remember, every high holy day
Right.
starts with a Sabbath anyway.
Okay.
So if the Passover, let's say, fell on a so-called Wednesday, well, that's a Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a high holy day Sabbath. Right. It's not the 7-day Sabbath.
The regular Sabbath.
Right, regular Sabbath. So it might have started on a Wednesday, but when that regular Sabbath comes, the issue here was: do we start the count of for the 49 days? Do we start at that Sabbath, or do we wait till the Feast of Unleavened Bread is over? Then, when that Sabbath comes, the regular Sabbath comes, do we start the count? And that was the issue. So it's a work in progress, right?
Right.
So, but we know we're in the season, right? Yeah. We know we're in around the right time. Okay. But that's what the Most High said. He said, when we go in our captivities, you're not going to have the understanding of the high holy days, and you gotta study to show thyself approved to find out. You know. So look, we weren't celebrating new moons when we were, when I was at One West. We weren't celebrating new moons. We started celebrating new moons after we left. Understand? But the Most High has given us the knowledge how. Here a little, there a little.
Yep.
So he said in stages, right? Okay. How many of y'all been in this truth, 3, 4, 5 years, right? Right? And some of you more than that. What you know now versus what you knew when you first came in is a lot more, isn't it?
Cool.
Because the Most High said, okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit more. Next year, okay, he's faithful.
Some
Okay,
more, yeah.
here goes some more.
Right.
Oh, he's faithful. Okay, here goes some more.
Yeah.
Oh, and you really faithful? Yeah. There it is. Now deal with that. And the next thing you know, man, you home racking your brain
Yeah.
trying to figure this thing out.
Con. I want to bring a precept in.
He said Ezra.
Sorry. Slack.
The Ezra's in the Bible, right?
Yep.
And in the Apocrypha. It's the same Ezra anyway. It's the same Ezra. He said, Ezra, you asking a lot of questions. you want to know a lot.
Right.
You think you know more than what I know? You want to know a lot. Okay, go out in the field, Ezra, and eat for 7 days.
Flowers.
Flowers and herbs.
Yeah.
You want to know this, right? Mm-hmm. So Ezra did it. See, that was the condition. You want knowledge? See?
You gotta sacrifice.
You had to sacrifice something, right? So the Most High said, okay, Ezra, you did that. Okay, here goes some knowledge, Ezra. Most High gave it to him. Then Ezra started asking some more questions. Most High said, wait a minute, Ezra. You're getting a little testy here. You want to know more? Go back out in that field and eat some more flowers and herbs for 7 days. Ezra, said, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
And he did it.
Right.
Most High said, okay, here.
Being obedient.
Being obedient. See the difference in stages? He didn't give it to them all at once. Why? Because you wouldn't be able to handle it. We wouldn't be able to handle everything at once. So that's why the Most High said, be diligent, be patient. Can a little child handle all the knowledge and wisdom the Father gives it right then and there at 5, 6, 7 years old? No, you got to give it to him in what?
Stages.
Stages. Yep.
And then by the time he's, 18, 19, or whatever, now, you know what I'm saying? Because you gave him a little bit of something every year. And then, of course, he's different, more mature from when he's 5 than, let's say, when he's 7, 8, 9, 10. He's a little bit more mature. He can handle certain things, right? So that's why the Most High does the same thing. So we're still a work in progress.
Con.
Getting high holy days down, getting it correct, Okay, go ahead, Al.
I got a precept.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Judges, chapter 5, verse 11.
Yeah.
So what Elder's saying is that we're all here trying to work out our own salvation, and when we get the script, it's going to get more. The Most High is going to add more to it. Just like in a play. Have you ever been in a play? They give you a script, and in your script you learn so much, and then you get more in your script because you're a better actor, so to speak.
Exactly.
So we're here for the Lord, and the more He gives us, the more we can perform for Him.
Exactly.
So verse 11: they that are delivered from the noise of archers, and that goes into what's going to happen when those ICBM missiles come and destroy this place.
The destruction.
The destruction of this place, and the place of drawing water, and drawing water is synonymous with bondage, slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is what we're talking about is America, pretty much, right? Babylon, if you will. This is where we're at right now. Shall they, us, the Israelites, rehearse the righteous acts of Yahweh? So that's what we're doing right now. We're in rehearsal. We got a script. We know the script. We know more because we know more about Yahweh because He gave us more of His Spirit. So now we operating in His Spirit. So now we want to have more information, and we want to obtain more information. So we rehearse it. We might not get it right the first time because we still learning the script. Exactly. We're all learning. So we got to rehearse the righteous acts, even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of the villages of Israel.
Right.
Now then shall the people of Yahweh go down to the gates, and that's when
serve the Most High.
Exactly.
When we rehearse. And why do we rehearse? We say it all the time. Why do we practice it? Because you get better at it.
You get better at it, right?
So when you hear some of these camps saying, you ain't got to keep the commandments, don't listen to that, huh? Because you have to rehearse the righteous acts. We have to practice it to get it correct. All right? And the Most High, He's long-suffering, so He's going to give us time to do that. Right, Con? So that's what we're doing now, and until we get it straight. But the Most High did say we would lose the knowledge of ourselves, right? And we would lose the knowledge of the high holy days and new moons and everything in the captivities that we come into, right? Until we return back to the Most High, the Most High give it back to us. Slowly but surely.
Ezekiel 37 come to mind.
Exactly. Okay, so read. You read 15? Yeah, you read
Con.
15.
Yep.
So tomorrow after the Sabbath would fall on a so-called Sunday. Con?
Con.
Okay.
Verse 16.
Go
Even, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Shalakia. Even unto the morrow, after the seventh Sabbath, ye shall number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto Yahweh.
Okay. Right. So that's it on that. So number the 50 days, and you're going to count the Sabbath, right? You're going to count Sabbath from the Sabbath, more likely, after the Passover, that Sabbath, that regular Sabbath, right? And you count those days, it would come up to 49 days. 7 times 7 Sabbaths is 49 days, right? Or 7 Sabbaths, put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you try to go by a calendar, one of Esau's calendars, and you count 49 days, sometimes it doesn't fall right on the Sabbath.
Right.
Con?
Tricked up.
You got to count the Sabbaths. Con?
Con.
Right.
We go by the moon cycle.
Right. You got to count the Sabbaths itself.
Right.
And then it says tomorrow after the Sabbath, the 50th day, that's the day of Pentecost. All right? Con? And that's how you do it. And that's a high holy day. Huh? That's one of the major three. Con?
Con.
Right? So, to me, it's just as up there in the level as Passover. Con?
Con.
I mean, really, we should be getting ready to have a first fruits feast, just like we do for the Passover. We all get our garments and get everything ready. We should be doing the same thing for first fruits, huh? But we don't. We look at the Passover as like up there, and the rest of these high holy days is like down here. No, they're all there is equal.
They're all
huh?
equal. Yep.
Right?
Con.
They're equal. All right, and so that was it on that one. Okay, Nehemiah 10:28. Nehemiah 10:28.
This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 10, verse 28. And the rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the porters, the singers, the Nethinims, and all they that had separated themselves from the people of the land.
What they do?
Separated themselves from the people of the land.
No, they came together with people.
They had separated themselves from the people of the land.
Well, I thought the Most High was about a rainbow coalition, about bringing all nations together.
They had separated themselves from the people of the land.
Wow, the Most High said, be unequally yoked. Don't be unequally yoked with the other nations and unbelievers. Right? Separate yourself. As a nation, we should be separating ourselves from Esau and the other nations. Right?
Con.
Con. Unto the law of our power.
Go on.
Their wives, their sons, and their daughters, everyone having knowledge and having understanding. Verse 29. They clave to their brethren, their nobles, and enter into a curse and to an oath to walk in God's laws.
To walk, yeah. See, we entered into an oath to
Yahweh's.
walk in Yahweh's commandments. Con?
Con.
And remember last week we read about how Moses sprinkled the blood from the calves and the offering, and he saved the blood. He sprinkled it on all the people, and he sprinkled it on the tabernacle. Con? So we entered into an oath with the Most High. We can't get out of it now. So you can run, but you can't hide. You're not getting out of it. Right? So, and that's important. Try to remember that. We can't get out of this thing. So be obedient. And if you try to get out of it, next thing for you is what? Death. Because you can't get out of it, right?
Right.
We are the Most High's people. Okay? So you can't, Most High, I want to go over there with other nations. I want to go with them. No, you're going to get death. If that's what you want to do, the Most High said, well, I'm going to kill you amongst them. So, are you going to serve the Most High, or next thing is death? Go ahead, Doc.
Verse 30.
Yeah, we're going to 35.
Okay, Con. And they would not give our daughters unto the people of the land, nor take their daughters for our sons.
How about that? So are we supposed to marry other nations?
La'ah.
No, that's right. We're not supposed to marry other nations. I know, you got some brothers who do that. Maybe they did it before they came in the truth, but we're not supposed to do that. in true essence. Yeah, okay, you know, in the kingdom, we won't have them as concubines or whatever. Yeah, but that's when we get to the kingdom. Right now, don't do that. Because all it lends to do is bring confusion. That's all it does. Bring too much confusion. Next thing you know, you have an Israelite group or school filled up with Edomites and other nations. Why? Because this sister got an Edomite husband, or this brother got an Edomite wife, or Filipino, or you know what I'm saying? Or Hamite, you know what I'm saying? You know, Hamite wife, whatever. So we got to, most side only adds to confusion.
Right.
Because if you got one brother that does it, or one sister that does it, what's going to happen? Well, the next brother going to say, well, hell.
A little lemon, lemon,
Oh, yeah. Well, I may as well get one, right? You got to be careful. Okay, go ahead, up. 31.
And if the people of the land bring wares or any victuals on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy it of them on the Sabbath, or on the holy day, that we would leave the 7th year, and the exaction of every debt.
Well, we know when you read the scriptures, the law says what? Every 7th year you would do what? Every 7th year we would do what? Exact all debts and free the servants. Because, you know, some of us were rich enough to have Hebrew servants. We had Hebrew servants. Right. I mean, of our own brothers. Sometimes with other nations too. But of course, they served us. It wasn't slavery. Con?
You got a paycheck.
It was a job.
It was a job, right? Okay, and they served you for 7 years. Now, of course, if that servant didn't want to be let go after the 7 years, then they could serve you another. If they, you know, wanted to,
right?
Understand? They could do that. But yeah, when we had Hebrew servants, and they would, you know, of course, serve you, help you out, and farm your land or whatever. Understand?
They had protection under the law.
Yeah, they had protection too. Yeah, understand? You couldn't whoop them. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Chop their foot off if they try to leave. Whatever. You can't do that. You have to treat them fairly. Yeah.
Wouldn't the first example that be Jacob with Laban?
Yeah. Well, there you go.
He served him what?
Con. Yeah. He was
That's the
serving.
same thing.
He was serving him. Con.
Time.
Con. Okay. And then when it was time for him to leave,
Laban did him dirty.
yeah, he did him dirty. But when it was time for Jacob to leave, what happened? I mean, of course, he wanted his wife.
Right.
And then he didn't even give him the wife that he chose.
Oh.
He snuck him somebody else.
Brought Leah.
His sister.
Brought Leah.
Leah.
There you go.
Right? You know, Jacob woke up and said, who the hell are you? I didn't ask for you.
Leah.
Leah probably felt bad. He felt, damn, man. You had to say it like that?
Whole marriage. She presented it.
Yeah, she didn't like that. But see, but the Most High set it up. He ended up getting 4 wives.
Yeah.
But the Most High set it up that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Most High set it up that way. Okay, because Leah ended up being the one with what? The most. Yeah. Most children.
Right.
The Most High blessed her.
Sure did.
Rachel only had 2, and then her womb was kind of, you know,
barren. Right?
barren for a little while.
A little
You know
bit.
what I'm saying? Okay, but that was the woman that Jacob wanted.
Right.
But the one that Most High want for you sometimes can be something different.
Right.
Something different.
Most High's work, man.
Yeah, Most High.
And what the seed and the seed to his, right?
Right. Sometimes the Most High can bring you somebody that's, you know, that fits your spirit correctly, but she might not be as pretty as the one that you would choose, right? Right? But that's when the Most High. So the Most High ended up giving 4 wives, right? And he brought forth the 12 sons, right? But still, we are not supposed to mix ourselves with other nations, because that's an abomination. That's against the commandment. Okay? Yeah.
So I can have 3 more wives?
Yeah.
And you're behind enemy lines.
How about that?
So I don't know if you
My
want
man
to
said,
behind enemy lines.
he didn't say 1 more wife, 3 more. He said,
You got a lot of work to
he
get
said,
done.
he said 3 more. He said 3 more, right? So, yeah, but in this society out, it's rough, man.
You couldn't do it. It's hard to do it over here.
It's hard to do it over here.
And
Yeah.
your land, when you were back in your land, you know, that was our culture
Yeah.
back then, you know. So it wasn't like now, you know.
Yeah.
It's met with taboo.
It's met with, yeah.
But a man can marry a man now, but a man can't have 2 wives.
Yeah, 2 wives, right.
This is bananas, right?
How about that?
Straight up Babylon, man. This
How
place
about
is
that?
confusing. and there's more women on the planet than there's men. So go figure that out.
Right.
Come
And
on.
yeah, and it's by nature.
It's by nature.
Women,
man.
are,
you know,
yeah,
we,
men should have more than one wife because
Yeah.
by nature, his spirit is like that. To have another woman there, and the woman, she can't be under her man all the time. Her spirit's not like that. Understand? A man in his full spirit, he could probably deal with in his full spirit when he's
Yeah.
young and stuff. He could probably deal with 10, 12 women at one time.
Solomon had 700.
Yeah, I'm talking about at one time. I mean, the same day, right?
That's why he went crazy.
In his full masculine spirit, he could probably do that.
Yeah.
Huh?
God.
But now the Most High took all that away from us.
Right, he did.
He ain't gonna give you that and allow you to have that in your captivity after you sinned against him.
And a week saying you're not getting that. Right? No, that's
Because
spoils. You're not getting
that's a
spoils.
man's glory, his wife, right? He don't give you your glory, and he don't get his glory yet. Woo! He's
God.
gonna take yours away. So that's why. Now I know you hear some brothers have it and all that, but believe me, they go through a little hell. Okay, they go through a little hell with it. But nevertheless, this is the spirit of Most High. So you read your 35 up.
God, I'm reading.
Go ahead, read that.
Verse 32. Also, we made an ordinance for us to change ourselves yearly with the third part of a shekel for the service of the house of our power, for the showbread, and for the continual meat offering, and for the continual burnt offering of the Sabbaths, of the new moons, for the set feasts, and for the holy things, and for the sin offerings, to make an atonement for Israel, and for all the work of the house of our power.
Okay, so you got to offer up these sacrifices for all these things. See, for the high holy days, all these different sacrifices the Most High has ordered for us to do. Okay, going up.
Verse 34. And we cast the lots among the priests, the Levites, and the
So
people.
the Levites were at work. See, every tribe had a certain talent, a specific thing how they served the Most High, right? So the Levites, of course, were the priests of the Most High. That was their service, okay? And that's why the Most High took them from amongst, the 12 sons and said, you're going to be my priest, and you're going to serve me as a priest. Huh? So they had a lot of work to do, okay? Especially in the high holy days, the priests were working, man. Okay, we're working. And it's going to come back to that. Especially, all the sins we were doing, they were working over duty, right?
God.
Overtime. Because we were just so sinful and here they come Tyler Pye again with his goat. What'd you do now, Tyler Pye? It was like that, right? Here he come again.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, go ahead, up.
All right, verse 34. And we cast lots among the priests, the Levites, and the people for the wood offering, to bring it into the house of our power after the houses of our fathers, at times appointed year by year, to burn upon the altar of the Lord Yahweh our power, as it is written in the law. Verse 35. And to bring the first fruits of our ground.
To bring what?
The first fruits of our ground.
One more time.
The first fruits of our ground.
Go ahead.
And the first fruits of all the fruit of the trees, year by year, unto the Lord, unto the house of Yahweh.
Right. See, so the first fruits was very important, right? Right. Deuteronomy 26:2.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Before I get there, are we going to be sacrifice in the kingdom? Will
Yes.
we still be bringing?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, these type of sacrifices, this is what's coming back. Okay?
Right.
Now, I
So
news
that
for you.
heathens are going to have to learn.
Oh, yeah.
And bring their.
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Even I news for you. Even sin offerings are going to be still in the kingdom because
We'll be sinless, but they won't.
they're going to they're sinners. But even amongst our people, sometimes you have those, what you call those presumptuous sins, or those sins that you didn't intend to sin, but it happened. Let's say you got caught in the house and your wife was on a monthly cycle. Somehow you got caught in there.
Right.
Well, you know what happens, right? You're not supposed to be in your house and your wife's on her monthly cycle.
Right.
So once she's in there, what happens to you? You're like
You're unclean.
contaminated. You're unclean. So that's a sin that you just couldn't avoid. It's like a sin you couldn't avoid. So that's why. So what do you got to do? You got to go offer up. Go to the priest and offer up your. Yeah. Understand? And so that type of sin offering is going to be. Understand?
Okay.
Not your intended. You know, that you commit a sin and you know what you're doing, premeditated. You know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Con.
Not those, but we're saying. Let's say you come across a dead body. It may be a dead body somewhere or something, and you tripped over it. What does that make you?
You're unclean.
You're unclean. So what do you got to do now? You got to offer up. You go to the priest, offer up. Understand? As a matter of fact, you're unclean for 7 days now, and you got to offer up your offering and all that stuff. So those type of offerings are coming back. Okay, when we get set up in back in our land in the kingdom. Yeah.
Now, since you said that,
Yeah.
what about all these funerals that we go to?
You're unclean.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't.
You unclean, huh?
For 7 days if you do it.
When we enter into the church with the bodies there, with the
I got this for you.
I kept thinking
The
that
whole church unclean.
Whole church is unclean, yeah. That's why when these brothers go to funerals and stuff, you're supposed to know you're supposed to be away from the congregation for 7 days.
Yeah, you don't come to fellowship.
Don't come to the class after 3 days. You just came back from a funeral. Let's say it's the 3rd day, and then you say, okay, now I'm gonna go to the Sabbath service.
Right.
Now you're gonna do what? Defile the whole congregation.
Right.
One man, like you said, one thing leveled the whole lump. One
Right.
sin.
Yeah.
You just now brought the whole house down because you unclean.
I tried not to go to them now.
If it's like say something, a funeral that's important, let's say mother, father, or, son or daughter, whatever, yeah, you're gonna go to it. Just know you're gonna be unclean 7 days. You stay home.
Right.
That's all. You can't come to the camp. You know what I'm saying? You can't come to the congregation. You can't come to the Sabbath service. If it's a high holy day that's near or something, you can't come to that. Just know you're unclean. That's all. See? And so we gotta understand these laws are important, huh? Understand? Yeah.
So how do we handle, like, would the priest handle the dead bodies, like
Yes.
the people of Israel that would die amongst Israel?
No, but in all actuality, you would bury the dead body when? The same day. Okay? So if it's, let's say, somebody in your household or whatever, understand? You would bury that body the same day. You don't wait after 7 days. You go to a morgue, they put it on ice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you decide, okay, what kind of funeral am I going to have? Next thing you know, 2 weeks went by, the body's not buried. That's an abomination with the Most High. Of course, that's this society. Everything in this society is contrary. You're supposed to bury that body the same day. And then, let's say, if it's in your household or whatever, then you got to do it. Come? You got to do it.
Yeah, see, the thing about that is you can't, back in the days, you used to bury them in your own backyard, but they done made laws, you can't do that.
Well, no, you can't do that here. I'm saying anything here, we can't do, right? But I'm saying that's, in all actuality, that's what it's supposed to be. What you gonna bring a dead body to the priest for? The priest he don't want to be unclean.
Right.
You gonna bring that dead body to the priest? Get the hell out of here with that, man. Go bury that thing. Understand what I'm saying? So it's like, so you got to do it. But you bury it the same day. That's all. Okay, go ahead, Al.
It's Deuteronomy 22.
26 and 2.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 26, verse 2. Thou shalt take of the first of all the fruit of the earth, which thou shalt bring of thy land, that Yahweh thy power giveth thee, and thou shalt put it in a basket, and shalt go unto the place Yahweh thy power shall choose to place his name there.
See, the first fruits you put into a basket. It's not talking about one of these old little baskets. He's talking about you're gonna bring your first fruits. A basket means something you put it in, right? So you could have a whole humongous, you know what I'm saying? Humongous thing, right? To put it in your first fruits, and then you carry it to the priest.
That's supposed to put it in as big as your wagon is.
Exactly. Okay, Con? Because it's your first fruits, and your first fruits might be more than just the barley, right? It could be other things, right? So in your farm, right? So you would bring all the first fruits, the things that spring up first. You bring that to the Most High. And then you're going to jump down to the 10th verse, huh?
And now, behold, I have brought the first fruits of the land which thou, O Yahweh, hast given me. And thou shalt set it before the Lord Yahweh thy power.
Set it before the Most High.
Set it before Yahweh thy power, and worship before Yahweh thy power.
Right. See what the Most High says? So set it before the Most High. You're going to bring your first fruit. Set it before the Most High. Even your firstborn. We have sons and daughters. And bless them. As soon as they're born, whatever, you go in the hospital, bless, or maybe after you bring them home or whatever, but get them circumcised. I say it's a son, get them circumcised, right?
Mm-hmm.
And offer it to the Most High. In other words, pray over them.
Right.
To the Most High. The Most High protect them, right?
I got a question.
Yeah.
Now, when you say your first fruit of your first son, and then now when you're having a daughter, that doesn't go that way, right?
Well, Most High said, actually, we said all that come through the matrix,
Okay.
the first of, so, what, you're going to bless your sons but not your daughters? No, you bless your daughters too. Right?
Come.
I asked the Most High to bless my whole family. That includes my sons, my daughters, everybody. My wife, everybody. Right? I got this for you. You ask the Most High to bless your cattle. If you got a dog that really help, a dog is one of the greatest servants there is.
Come.
I'm gonna tell you, a dog, that's one of the greatest servants that you ever find. Because they're loyal, aren't they?
Come.
You ask the Most High to bless, Don't you think the shepherds of Israel used dogs to do what?
Herd the sheep,
You know how important that dog is, huh? Very, very important.
Right. Yeah. You got a farm. He's warned you of dangers.
Exactly, huh? So you ask the Most High to bless that too. Your cattle, because, Jacob prayed over his cattle. Remember the brother brought about Jacob? And Jacob, he had the knowledge to separate his cattle from Laban's cattle. And he was able, and Jacob had that knowledge where he was able to breed his cattle where when they were born, it would come out speckled.
Different colors and stuff.
Different colors, speckled. So he said, Jacob understood that. So Jacob was smart. So Jacob said, okay, I know what to do. I'm going to separate my cattle from his.
Right.
And of course, he had to wait till the cattle had babies to be able to do it. He ended up having so much cattle. In that day, Jacob would be considered, like today, a millionaire.
Right.
He was rich. Well, because he understood what to do. Right? Okay, Con? So, same thing. So, we got to do the same thing today. Our thankfulness and our prayers to the Most High protects us and puts angelic, spiritual angels around us to protect us. You don't see them, but they're there. Mm-hmm. All right? Go ahead, Doc. That was, okay, get Exodus 23:19. And then somebody get Exodus 34:22. It can be Yaquab or Yachanan. Exodus 34:22. We'll speed it up. Exodus 23:19.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 19. The first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring into the house of Yahweh thy power. Thou shalt not see a kid and his mother's
Okay,
milk.
so that's it. So again, concerning the first fruits of the land, bring to the Most High. Exodus 34:22. Who got that? Yaquab or Yachanan?
Yeah, I got it.
Go ahead.
The book of Exodus, chapter 34, verse 22. And thou shalt observe the Feast of Weeks.
Observe what?
The feast of weeks.
They observe the Feast of Weeks. Now it's called the Feast of Weeks. Why? Because what we read it in Leviticus 23. What are we doing? Counting the Sabbaths.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, count weeks.
The feast
7
of
times
weeks.
7 Sabbaths is 49 days. Con?
Con.
And so that's why it's called the Feast of Weeks.
Good.
Okay,
Excellent.
go ahead, Doc.
And thou shalt observe the Feast of Weeks of the first fruits of wheat harvest.
Yeah. And so what harvest is it?
The wheat harvest.
Now the barley harvest is what? Comes around what season?
Passover.
Passover season or Passover High Holy Day.
Mhm.
The springtime. That's
Right.
the barley harvest. And now it's more like your summer harvest. So understand?
Con.
You're more like into a summer harvest, right? And which is the wheat harvest. All right. Okay, the first fruits. Go ahead. Up.
And the feast of ingathering at the year's end.
What? The Feast of Ingathering. What feast is that? You ever heard of that feast?
Tabernacle.
It's called the Tabernacle. Okay. Why they call the Ingathering? Because what are you doing?
Gathering.
You're gathering so you can store it.
Store it up.
Okay.
Ingathering.
Israel had great giant storehouses.
Yes.
And all your farms and your land you had storehouses. Why? Because you're not going to do anything during the winter time. You're going to chill. You know what I'm saying? And so how you going to eat? You're going to go to that storehouse and say, okay, I want this potatoes, tomatoes, I want corn, I want this. And you're going to bring it right out, take it into the house, and have a meal. And then you're going to go over there and choose a nice lamb. You know what I'm saying? Kill the lamb, whatever. Go inside, you're going to have lamb chops, right?
Corn.
Barley. Right? Right, you know what I'm saying?
Everything.
Everything, right? That's how you did it. But everything was already stored up, so you didn't have to do no work. The Most High blessed you in your land. You stored it during the end of year harvest, and the ingathering, and you stored it up. So now you're able to feed your family during the winter months. Yeah.
And then like the Passover represents when your corn is about to become green, and then the Tabernacles represents when you bring it in a harvest.
Bring it in. Yeah.
Also, this right here is where you see that Joseph is operating under this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding
Right.
that salvaged Egypt.
Yeah.
Which the Egyptians had no knowledge.
Because of the knowledge of the Most High that Joseph had, he was able to save Egypt from the famine.
Egypt, yes, he did.
And Pharaoh hated farmers too.
Yeah.
Like he was on some stupid.
Now just think, Joseph, because of that knowledge, because he was able to save Egypt from the famine. Remember that famine hit the land of Canaan too. That's why Jacob had to come up with the 70 souls, right?
Yeah.
Come into Egypt.
Jacob.
That's how,
Joseph.
Yeah. Right.
Jacob.
So Joseph was promoted, okay, in the government of Egypt under Pharaoh. Mm-hmm. He was the second in command of all Egypt. That's like being
He was governor,
vice president of America.
Yeah.
Come?
Yeah.
And he wasn't no Uncle Tom either.
Not at all.
No, because if he was Uncle Tom, he wouldn't have received his brothers. He was, understand? So he was, but the Most High had it where, of course, that Pharaoh loved Joseph because of what he did. Like you said, Joseph had the knowledge of the Most High. Okay, and Joseph, what did he tell the Egyptians to do? The Pharaoh, store it in the storehouses because the famine, 7 years famine, is coming. Store it in the storehouses. Same thing here. You store it in the storehouses. When the winter months, the hardship of the winter months come, you got food. And that's what. And so Pharaoh said, "Damn, that's intelligent." Matter of fact, the other nations have that same famine was hitting other nations. So the other nations heard that Egypt had food. He said, "Okay." Pharaoh said, "Okay, we're gonna make some money out of this. We're gonna make some money out of this deal."
And I think Joseph's got a nice cut out of that.
Yeah, of course. He put nice high position, nice cut.
Set him up.
Set him up.
And he used the foolish things of the world
Right.
to found the wise.
Right. See? So that was right. But then, of course, the prophet said, if the Pharaoh that knew not Joseph said, "No, we're gonna put these niggas in slavery." You know what I'm saying? 'Cause we don't like these Hebrews.
They getting too deep.
They get too many people.
Yeah.
They're having babies every day. Tazapaya got 20 babies. Come on, man. He don't even know where they at. They all over the place. Come on, man. Stuff like that. So,
Papa was a rolling stone.
Egypt said, "What the hell's going on here?" Okay. So that was it on that. And then jump down to the 26th verse, 34:26. If y'all can read that.
So you want me to continue?
Continue.
Well, to the 20. Let's go to the 26.
26.
Yeah.
And it reads, "The first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring unto the house of the Most High thy God, thy power. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk."
Right. Okay. So that proves our point. Okay.
So that means
Let's
you
bring the
can't
first
select
fruits.
it, and that see the mother's kid is like, I don't think you can take. If it's still weaning, you're not
If it's
supposed to
weaning,
take it as a
If they don't eat
sacrifice.
veal.
You're not supposed to take it as a sacrifice.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I thought it meant like it's something in your stomach that
No.
it won't sit right. eating meat with milk. You're not supposed to do that.
Nah, that's
That's
what
not
the
it.
Yiddish teach. That's what they
Yeah,
teach.
what we're
But
teaching
you
is
don't
that-
eat
But you're
veal.
not supposed to do that though.
You're not.
right?
If
You're
it's
not
a
supposed to eat meat
if it's
and milk.
seething, what I'm saying is,
Well, you still shouldn't do it.
right. Well, you're not.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but that's not what this is talking.
That's
about.
not what it's talking about,
It's
right?
talking about eating veal.
This
That's
is-
what that's talking about.
Okay.
No,
Like,
this
they
is
ain't supposed
talk-
to eat no veal. When they got veal, what they do is like the dairy farmers, when they first come out the womb, they slit the veal fruit and they put it on the shelf. We ain't
Yeah.
supposed to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
You don't eat veal.
Yeah, we ain't supposed to do that.
So veal is what? A
Veal's
kid?
unclean. It's
It's a baby
newborn
goat.
calf.
It's a baby
It's
calf.
a baby. It's a baby calf.
Okay.
If
So-
it's still
they slit the throat.
No,
and
but-
then they use the milk from the mother.
Different than a lamb, which is a still
it's still
kind of a
cow
baby,
too,
but
yeah.
it's a little older.
Yeah, you ain't supposed to do that.
It's
either.
well, if
Lamb.
it's
Yeah, but I'm talking about like if it's like
hold on,
Sloppy.
so we can get back to the class.
Go.
But if the kid is seething, drinking the mother's milk,
right, you're not supposed to use it as a sacrifice.
That's
what we're going
Simple as
into.
that.
That's
Okay,
as simple as
okay.
that.
Simple as
God,
that.
this is on his own, mommy.
Right.
Don't leave it alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a lamb that's a year old,
Right. Then you can
we
use
did
it.
sacrifice it, right? If it's a year old, but if it's like say before a year and it's still drinking its mother's milk, you're not supposed to take that and then
Offer
kill
that.
it and
You can't
offer it up.
offer it.
Most times, like, it's unacceptable, right?
Huh.
Is that the two of them, the mother and the
Yes.
calf?
Yeah.
Leave both of them alone?
Leave both of them
Leave
alone.
both alone, yeah.
Done. Right. Because the calf is drinking its mother's milk. How are you going to kill the mother? Now, what's the calf going to do? Understand?
Or the other.
Yeah, but
Or
you
the
know.
other calf. Gotcha.
Okay, and then this one in the Apocrypha rock. I think it's Ecclesiasticus, 7th chapter, 31st verse.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 7, verse 31. Fear Yahweh and honor the priest, and give him his portion.
Give what?
Give him his
The
portion.
Most High demands the portion. I mean, well, demands the portion for the priest, but the priests are going to offer up to the Most High.
Right.
First fruits, okay? And also, when you read the scriptures, the Levite priests were able to take some of the tithes for themselves. Done?
Con.
They were commanded to take some of it for themselves. Okay, go ahead, up. Is that it?
As it is commanded thee, the first fruits and the trespass offering and the gift of the shoulders and the sacrifice of sanctification and the first fruits of the holy things. That's it on
Yeah. See? So, if you didn't bring your first fruits up, what was the priest going to do? The priest would go hungry. Understand? So you're supposed to bring your first fruits, and then of course they're going to offer it up to the Most High. But there was portions of it that they were able to keep for themselves, for their household. Huh?
Con. 'Cause
That's
they-
why tithes are important.
Right, because priests didn't have the Levites didn't have an inheritance,
No, they didn't have an inheritance.
and they didn't got land. They had to live off of the other
Tithes, yeah. Well,
tithes.
that's right. Con.
Con.
You're right, up. Okay. Now get this one in Proverbs 3 and 9. Okay, as always, we want to bring it up to date, right? You always want to bring it up to the New Testament, what the New Testament teaches us also, right? Concerning the first fruits. Because now, not only did we celebrate the first fruits, the High Holy Day, and we brought the first fruits to the Most High and tithes and offerings, but who else is the first fruit?
Christ.
Yeah.
Christ.
See?
Yahweh
Shai he was
Hamashiach.
considered a first fruit
Right.
to the Most High. How about, who else is the first fruit? You, Israel. We're the first fruits to the Most High amongst all the nations. We are the first. Okay? So the other nations, the Most High created them and gave them their land, gave them their language, gave them their customs and all that stuff. And the other nations have their specific talents too. Most High blessed them too. He gave them specific talents and stuff, right? But they're not the first fruit. Only Israel is the first fruit and the chosen. Come?
Con.
So that's where the nations go off. Everybody think, the Arabs think, Allah, right? Right? The Buddhists think, the Most High, you know what I'm saying? The God of the Buddhists and, other nations, their God. Ham thinks, sun god Ra. No. Right? But the other nations, the Most High did bless. Didn't he bless Ishmael? The Arab? Most High blessed them out.
Yeah, they got that blessing.
Yeah.
Y'all got the blessing, but we got the promise.
Okay.
God.
That's the difference.
And all the gods of the nations of idols.
That's the difference.
But Yahweh made the heavens.
Right. That's the difference. Okay, come.
John.
All right.
Wanna read that?
Yeah, read that.
Proverbs chapter 3, verse 9. Honor Yahweh with thy substance and with the first fruits of all thine increase.
Yeah, so whatever the Most High increase you with, you bring it to the Most High. So what about now? Can you do that now? Well, yeah, you can do it now. That's why we have, Israelite schools and camps. So if the Most High bless you and you got a job, you make $100,000 a year, because now it's like in terms of money now, right? We don't have farms and all that, and we can't bring, the first fruits of the tithes of your body hogs and wheat hogs. We don't have that now. So what can be in place of your first fruits now? Well, maybe the money the Most High still bless you with it, right?
Correct.
So it's the resources the Most High bless you with. Some of us have more clothes than we need, right?
Right.
Well, offer some of that up, right? Didn't read Acts? Didn't the disciples do that? They got together and said for everybody to bring resources, whatever they have for the poor amongst our people.
Yep.
See, the Most High looks at that too. That's why it said alms is very important, right? Some of us have 3 or 4 or 5 cars. Most High said to a brother, go the extra mile for a brother. Brother need a ride or whatever, right? You got 3 or 4 cars, another brother don't have none. So he may need a ride or whatever, understand? But the Most High does that. He'll bless one brother with excess, another brother won't bless with too much. Then when you come together in congregation, where's the Most High want to see? The one with excess, he wants to see you do what? Yeah. Bless the next brother you don't have. That's why the Most High made that brother richer than that brother. The Most High want to see what we're going to do. How we going to, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Correct.
How we going to bless one another and bear one another's burdens and so forth. Care for one another. Use hospitality. Some brothers got 2 and 3 places to live. Some brothers don't hardly have none. Some brothers, we have brothers that come out shelters and stuff out. They don't have no place to live. So what does the Most High want to see you do? Help that brother who don't have a place to live. If you got an extra room or whatever, whatever. Understand what I'm saying? So that's how you give your alms now. John?
Yeah.
Most High bless you with excess. Some of us got our refrigerators that fill up with food. Some brothers don't hardly have nothing, right? And then there you go. Understand? And that's what the Most High, that's why he blessed some brothers with more, some with less. He want to see what you're going to do with it. John? Okay, so we go to 10th verse, huh?
So shall thy barns be filled with plenty.
Your barns, now today it's your what? Your house, your apartment, right? Filled with plenty. Go on.
And thy presses shall burst out with new wine.
Go on.
My son, despise not the chastening of Yahweh.
Okay, so that's it on that. I won't go too far. But yeah, okay, so whatever the Most High bless you with, he wants to see you now care for the nation and help the nation with it. That's why Yakanan has the coat drive. See? So when the summit comes, we have the summit here in Delaware, we're going to, Yakanan's going to go up in front to the congregation and announce that he has the coat drive going. As like a new department in the Marshall Charlotte. Because that's important, right? And also, we also have another brother in North Carolina, Yahweh's camp. He does the pantry department. And he does it free, huh? So when all the camps we have throughout the United States, they call him up and says, you got any toilet paper? You got any soap or whatever? Whatever. And he goes he got a little storehouse for it. And what he does is get the address and send it to them, whatever part of the country they're in. Understand? He may be in North Carolina, but he'll send it to California, whatever it is. So we've been doing it. The Marshall Charlotte been doing that. Right? Okay, so that's why, it's very important because we're going to need each other in these last days, especially during the tribulation period. We're going to need each other.
Come.
We're not going to have nobody else, huh? If we can't be on the corners fighting, camps fighting one another and all that. Come on, man.
Right.
That's not an example of Yahushua.
Come.
Okay? Yahushua didn't teach us to do that. Read the scripture. Did he do that?
No.
Yahushua actually, he would leave. He said, look, if they don't accept the word, then shake the dust off your foot. But he did say, a prophet or a disciple should not build upon another man's foundation.
Come.
So why would I want to, if I see you out there in a certain area speaking, why would I come out there and then set up right next to you and start speaking?
Or will not speak with them.
Or not even offer to, let's speak together.
Because they're doing the enemy's business.
Well, there you go. See? So now all that melee is all the social media. The other nations saying, see them Israelites, they ain't no damn, those are niggas. They ain't no damn good. They got the Bible out speaking the Most High's words. They Bible speaking niggas. Fighting amongst one another. See, how are we going to get the nation together and we do that? It doesn't make any sense. Understand? So all that energy we spend in fighting towards one another and the true enemy, we don't do nothing to, right? The true enemy. Understand? So I mean,
He got his way with him.
Exactly.
You know, he did what he was supposed to do.
He did what he did what he's supposed to do, and now look, we fight amongst one another.
Con.
So that's it's sad, huh? And we're talking about brothers who've been in the truth a long time, huh? And we still can't get it right. I just don't understand that. So this is why the Mashra Sha'ala, we were saying, let's bring camps together. And I don't want your camp. You know, some brothers may have that in their mind, out of pride. Oh, they want me to come under them. No, I want you to come under me. You got to come under Yahushua, ultimately. So it's not under me. It's not under any other brother in the Mashra Sha'ala. It's just us coming together and participating in the building, building of our people to come back together as a government, as a nation. Okay, because one camp ain't going to do it.
That's right.
Understand? The Most High is not giving one camp all the blessings and the other camp don't have nothing. So for these camps to say, well, if you're not part of my camp, I can't salute you, and this isolationism, mentality, division mentality, separation mentality. If you think like that, then where's the nation? How are we going to grow as a nation? How are we going to build as a nation? Understand?
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. Because the Most High don't work that way. Your hand can't say, well, left hand, I don't want you, because you ain't like me, my right hand. Foot, I don't want you, because you ain't my arm, so you can't be part of me. It doesn't work. It's not going to work, huh?
No,
And these brothers, they just don't get it. Yeah.
So I got a question, shift gears a little bit. How do we observe and do the Feast of First Fruits today? Because we know we ain't doing it exactly how they did it with the priests, because we don't have the priests and all of that, the temple, the altar. Like, because I just cook in fellowship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, can you explain a little bit, like, the proper way we supposed to do it? If that is how it's done.
For one, what the Most High said, do forsake not the coming together in unity, right? So, and he read the scripture. He said, rehearse the righteous acts, right? In
Judges
5:11, right? Yeah. So, the best that we can do now is, one, recognize the time that it comes, the season that it comes in, and we're pretty much in the right season, whether it's today or the next week or whatever. But we're in the right season, So, especially if you're Israelite camp, you say, okay, today we're gonna do it at sundown, and we're gonna come together. It's a what? It's a high holy day, right? And it's a what? A Sabbath. So what do we do on the Sabbath? We congregate.
Yeah.
And then we go over it. We go over it. So we're going over it now. Huh?
Yeah.
We go over it. And then
Feast.
it's a feast. So of
Yeah,
course
so you talk about cooking, Slakia.
cooking.
You talking about cooking on
Well,
the
I'm talking about period. Like,
Period.
how
How
to
to
observe it, because
Right.
we basically read and broke it down
Right.
how they did it then, but we can't do
Can't
it
do
like
it
that.
entirely the
So
same
how do
way.
we do it today?
Right. And that's the best thing you do. Now, when we were reading about, of course, alms and bringing your first fruits. So today, when the first fruits come, you can bring. See, that's why we can do it in a way where, because we can't do it exactly the way we did in the scriptures in ancient time. Well, today you can bring some first fruits, right? And then, of course, we're gonna say the prayers. To the Most High, that He blesses us with these first fruits. And then what do we do with it? Some of you might bring clothes. Some of you might bring food. Some of you might bring other things, material things, like we said, toilet paper, brought that, soap or whatever, to the congregation who might need it.
Right.
So you can celebrate it that way too.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
That
understand?
sounds like how we should.
How we should do it, right? You can celebrate that way too. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
Yeah.
Because we know we can't offer up a goat or a lamb. We can't do that now. So whatever you might bring in the congregation, we pray over it and thank the Most High for blessing you to be able to bring it. And then we do what? We pass it out to the ones who need.
Right.
Didn't the disciples do that in Read Acts, right? Remember? They brought everybody together and said, Peter and them said, look.
They did that in Purim too.
Yeah, in Purim, right. In Purim, they offered up gifts. They had gifts, and they brought to the congregation, remember?
Yep.
Read about Purim.
Portions.
Yeah, portions. Right? And so, everybody said, well, I like Christmas. Well, we have a Purim where we all gave gifts.
Right.
You ain't got to celebrate Christmas. We had a Purim, right?
Right.
We can exchange gifts.
Exchange gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep the tree down and
Right.
gifts.
Still get gifts, yeah. Well, leave the tree.
Now, you say bring the first fruits. Now, see, we don't know each other's needs, so we wouldn't know what to bring. Unless
No, just bring it.
They bring.
Right.
See the difference? You just bring it out.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Right? Whatever the Most High bless you with, and you got excess, you just bring it. Believe me, it's gonna go. Believe me. You bring something I need. Okay, brother, thank you. Throw it up.
Right.
You know, just bring it. And if somebody, let's say, if somebody in the congregation don't need it, what are we gonna do with it? Put it in the storehouse.
Open the storehouse.
We'll figure out where we want to store it, but we're gonna
They
put it in
got
the store.
something here.
Yeah, they do.
You know, I mean,
Yep.
that's an option if we want to do that.
Yeah, we can because
They got clothes. They got
because
the
I
clothes
know
thing in
because
there.
they would let us if we brought stuff. We brought stuff here. The director, I talked to her yesterday. I came here early yesterday to talk to her.
Sheila.
Yeah. So when we had the summit, we were able to go up until 11 p.m. But remember, at first, she wasn't going to, let us go. Right?
Wow.
So I had to talk to her again. We were able to go from July 29th, when the summit, we were able to go from 12 to 11 p.m.
Oh, praise.
Oh, praise.
Okay, she was letting us use the intermission. We normally have a class.
Right.
We may have a class on marriage or a class on circumcision or a class with the Hebrew. We've been doing that the last few summits also, when intermission comes, right? So she's letting us use the class, right? So, of course, we got the gym. So I explained to her the format, the tables and all the chairs that we need and all that stuff. So she's letting us do that. But I'm pretty sure that if we had some excess merchandise, she would let us probably store it here. We have to give her a little something, but she would let us do it. And so we would still have the excess. Even if, somebody don't need what you bring, don't worry about it.
Yeah, because when they used to have events here
Yeah.
and they had too much stuff, they would try to give it to us.
Yeah, okay.
You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go, okay.
Yeah, then people give like me coats and clothes all year. I save it all year.
You
until
save
we
it.
do the coat drive.
Right.
I save it.
Because
I
the
mean,
next
or
coat
if they
drive
do
is coming. The next, you know what I'm saying? Somebody's going to need it eventually. Even if it's just amongst us, some of us here, we're going to need it eventually.
Sure.
Okay? So don't worry about it. Then as more people come in, the congregation gets bigger and bigger. So, you know what I'm saying? There's always the poor ones of us that are poor than the next brother. We're all poor, but I'm saying some of us a little bit more richer than the next brother, right? They're going to need it. And they're going to come in, They're going to come in. And then if we have stuff stored up, what's wrong, brother? You need a coat? Okay, let's see what we got. There you go. Right. Understand? Mm-hmm. So that's what the Most High want to see. And, we have to start doing that. But it's a work in progress. But I'm saying as a whole, that's why we're saying under the Marshal Allah, as a whole, we want to start doing it. When he brings his coat drive and announce it at the Marshal Allah, you know what's going to happen? They're going to be calling him like crazy. He got to get ready for that. You know what I'm saying? We've had brothers who hosted summits in their camp. They might have had 10 people. They hosted the summit, and their camp went from 10 to 50 overnight. All because they hosted the summit, and now it's out there that, there's a camp in such city, and it's out there now. Now the people of that city want to come to their school. Understand? So once he does that, it's going to be like nationwide, right? You're going to get calls everywhere.
And then, like, if somebody already needed coach and they didn't live around here, they hit me up like, yo, my kids need coach. We sent it to them, like, we ordered the coach from them through, like, Amazon and stuff like that, too. If we had the funds.
Right. So I would say, Yaquab was right. How do you celebrate it now? Well, that would be a way to celebrate it now. Understand? Not only rehearsing the righteous acts and just recognizing it, and come together as a Sabbath day and recognizing it, but also it's a feast, and we
Right.
could also, like you said, give to one another. You know what I'm saying?
And it's still honored the Most High.
It's on the Most High. Huh? It's on the Most High.
So we doing it in vain.
No, it's not.
Right.
It's never. That's never in vain. That's why Peter killed the brother who tried to hide his.
Yeah.
Because if you agree to do it,
Right.
you know, someone's time to do it, and you hide it. You know what I'm saying?
It's a fear and a knife.
Yeah. So Peter was like, "What would you hide it for? You agreed to it.
Struck them both down.
You agreed to it. Well, this day the Most High will take your life.
Yeah.
Okay, because you agreed to it, and then tried to hide it, and said, "No, I'm not going to do this because the Most High bless you with it." Okay, and the Most High is not saying give what you have off your back. He's saying give what you have as excess.
Yeah.
God. And that's all a part of keeping the Sabbath too. That's what
Right.
you forget. Like if you have an excess, it's about being the repairer of the breach, us
Right.
taking care of us and not making us dependent on our oppressors.
All oppressors,
You know what I
right.
mean?
And that's what's coming up because in a very little while we ain't gonna have. You can't depend on Esau no more, or going to the food stores, going to clothes stores, right? And I'm saying that's why I say the martial arts, Yasha, we're saying it's a government, it's a nation. So we got to be self-sufficient, and we got to look at it on that level, self-sufficiency. And I know it's hard to break away being dependent on Esau's world. You know what I'm saying? That's Israel. We're just so dependent that we don't look at Negroes having their own, doing their own thing. What's wrong with that? We should. All right? But the reason why, even though when the Muslims spoke about that, it wasn't going to work under them. Why? Because we're not Muslim. When the black nationalists did it, the Black Panther Party, they were doing it for a little while, right? But it didn't work. Why? Didn't last. Why? Because it's not. They still doing it under Esau's philosophy, Esau's world, Esau's system.
Everything collapsed on us every time.
Every time you do something, it collapses. Why? Because it has to be under the Mosai Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It has to be that way. Okay? And then now the Mosai will bless it. And that's what I think some of these camps just don't see. But we have power, but we got to come together. But what do we see? We fight on the corners.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
never-
we're still under the curses.
yeah.
Come.
So the curses ain't lifted. So we're never going to be correct until Yahweh come back.
Right. But you have to do what though?
Rehearse the rest of
Restoration
that.
sex.
Right.
And
So as we rehearsing in stages, the Most High begins to lift the curse. Understand? But we got to apply it. See, if you apply the commandment, it's going to work for you. If you supply caring for your brother, the hospitality, serving your brother, bear one another's burden, you apply that stuff, then you'll see the benefit. But we don't apply it as a nation. Understand? So we got a bunch of camps out there, thousands of camps, but we're not applying it to come together as a nation. So that's why it still seems like the curses are under us, because we're not applying it. Once you begin to apply, you'll begin to see that when Yahweh Shai commanded us, it's going to work. Understand? It's going to work. Because you see it working when you apply it from brother to brother.
Come.
Understand? You see it work. But so now it has to work now from camp to camp. From Israelite school to Israelite school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's how it has to work.
Right.
Well, you know we're gonna see more of that on the corner, right?
Huh?
You know we're gonna see more of that.
Well, yeah, I know.
Because they're, you got certain sects that's so greedy,
Exactly.
and
It's
selfish.
greed, and that's the bottom
just
line.
what it
Greed.
is.
Right.
Yeah.
Greed.
It's all about
Right.
greed, yo.
So what they want to do is come on your turf and try to take over your stuff.
I
They wonder why
experienced
they break
that.
up.
I experienced that in D.C. And one of those camps that's in question, they came up with their big speakers, okay, and everything. Of course, in Memphis, right? Y'all see what happened in Memphis when we had the unit camp there. So,
Yep.
I'm saying,
Remember that.
right? Remember that? Right? How can this be? And we know what Yahweh Shai told us to do. We're not applying that. Did they apply what Yahweh Shai said when they came up there in Memphis? No. Okay? With 1,000 men marching and brought them up on the sidewalk right in front of us. No. Okay? Try to force us, understand? But it's one thing we did. Okay? We were not going to throw any punches. Okay? I told the brother to keep speaking. Brother kept speaking. We took them to the side and we spoke to them. Okay, there was some other things they wanted us to, speak about right there. And I said, no, we're not speaking about it right here because we got a camp going on. I said, if you want to speak about those things, then, call me up, you know what I'm saying? Or get in contact with me and then we can, have a meeting, have a discussion about it. Okay, you can't do it right there, bring 1,000 men and then just do it, you know what I'm saying? And do it right there, so it wasn't going to work. See? But did we run? Was there a melee? Was there a fight? Or was there any punches thrown? No. You did it in righteousness and order.
Good.
So they had to back down.
Good.
And sure enough, the congregation that was still listening to us, they were mad at them. Okay? It was IUIC. I mean, you say, everybody knows what camp it was. And they were mad at them. The congregation said, I don't like that. Because there were people sitting there listening. When they brought all those men on the sidewalk, they pushed them, people listening, into, further. They sort of pushed them, so as if those people were going to leave the camp and go listen to them, which that didn't happen. Okay? Then nobody was listening to them. Nobody. Because they ended up having camps all around the area, and nobody was there listening to them. So it's the Most High. It doesn't. Again, numbers don't mean nothing.
Good.
Okay, numbers don't mean anything. It's the Spirit of the Most High. He gives the increase. Okay? Numbers don't mean anything. Okay, so you could have 10 mighty men that can bring down the city, but they won't be able to do nothing if the Most High is not with them. Okay?
Good.
So that's the deal. So we got to apply it. So now, just a couple more. Now, when you bring it into the New Testament, right? Mm-hmm. You bring it up to date into the New Testament, and 1 Corinthians 15. and 20.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 20. But now is Hamashiach risen from the dead and become the first fruits of what? Become the first fruits.
Yahushua become the what?
First fruits.
He's the first. So you see the difference? Now you bring it up to the New Testament, and the Most High is still talking about first fruits, right?
God.
But this time, it's not so much the types you bring as first fruit, it's what?
Yourself.
Yourself.
Yeah. Make yourself a living sacrifice.
Now you make yourself a living. You make yourself the first fruit.
Right. God.
Okay, Con? So, are y'all willing to bring yourselves to the Most High? He's calling, right? He's asking you. He's calling you. That's why you're here. He's calling you. Are you willing to make yourself the first fruit of Yahushua? Con? Going up.
For since by man came death, by man came also the resurrection of the dead.
Who brought death? Well, it's going to tell you as you read on down. But who is it? From the beginning. Who was from the beginning?
Adam.
Adam. When he sinned, right?
God.
Brought death on all of us. Right?
God.
His sin brought death on all of us. And remember, who is the Alpha and Omega?
Yahushua.
So Yahushua even had to atone for that sin too. Right? So by man came death, and by man,
For as in Adam all died,
in Adam. Go on.
even so in Hamashiach shall all be made alive.
So Yahushua is saying, in Adam all died. Now that Adam has to come back and do what? Make all things new.
Right.
Con?
Good.
So you got to make all things new also within you by becoming that first fruit, that sacrifice.
Good.
That's how you make it new. That's how you make yourself new. Remember I said put on the new man?
Right.
Well, how do you do that? Well, you make that sacrifice.
Present yourself a living sacrifice.
Become that first fruit. That's how you got to do it, And there's things you got to give up. Mainly, you got to give up the world, right? You got to give it up. You know, you live in the world, but give up the world. I mean, you don't have to celebrate Christmas or Easter, the holiday. You don't have to go partying all the time. You don't have to go to these demonic concerts. You hear about Beyonce's concert? It's all demonic. You heard about it? You heard about the weekend? You know, the weekend?
Oh, the weekend?
Yeah. You ever heard it? He's in concert now.
Yeah.
You heard about his concert? No. It's all demonic.
It's
all, I mean, he got blood. It looked like blood sacrifice. He got all that stuff in this concert.
That's a clown show. That's not even concerts anymore.
Well, no, not anymore. But it's still
They're all rituals.
Yeah, it's rituals.
It's all rituals.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's not a concert. It's a ritual.
I don't know if it was the weekend or it was another.
He's wicked though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's wicked. there was another one that is in concert, but they said in his concert he got actually flashed on, on stage. Satan. It's actually flashed on stage. It might have been the weekend.
Yeah, I was
It
one
wasn't
of those.
the weekend. It was Little Uzi.
Lil Uzi, right? You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
Satan. Just flashing people, jumping up and down. Ah! See? So you got to give up the world. See? And so, and also you got to begin to, again, harness and keep some of these commandments.
Right.
So you got to give up pork. You've been eating pork all your life, now you come to the truth. Now the Most High says, no, you can't do it anymore. Shrimp and all that. But you used to love it, right? Give it up. Sacrifice. Give it up. See?
Yeah, even
Pork was easy for me to give up, though. See, but there are some things that are more easier for you to give up than others. As well as everybody. Understand? Some women, realize that they've been wearing pants,
It's hard to get
and now it's hard to get that up.
Yeah.
And now you come to the truth, and so you got to wear a dress. And then she got second thoughts.
Yeah, well,
Second thoughts. Because you've been wearing pants, but that's that vibration, that
Right.
masculine vibration, that lesbian vibration that's been pushed out here.
Feminism, yo.
Yeah, feminism.
It's been a while.
That's what that is. Feminism is a lesbian vibration.
Yep.
Taking on a man's vibration. That's what that is. And now what do you see? Women construction workers, women cops,
Truck drivers.
women firemen, truck drivers. And woman gets out the truck,
Women
slams the
fire
door, and she's built like this. You know what I'm saying? Got combat boots on. And it automatically puts a vibration. They don't even realize it.
Right.
They just start walking, more manly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Here comes the woman cop walking like this up towards you, to give you a ticket. You know what I'm saying? Got her hands by the, about to draw her gun. That man, see, that's all the vibration of Satan. Understand? And so now the Most High said, okay, woman, now put on a dress. Can you give that up wearing pants? Understand? So like you said, sacrifice. You got to sacrifice some things. And the Most High knows some things going to be harder than others. So that's why the Most High said, well, I'm long suffering. I'll give you some time. You got time.
Come.
Figure it out. Because before you run out of time,
Right.
figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do.
I know it's one that I always battle is laziness.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a
There's brothers that still smoking weed. They still smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
We know brothers that still eat pork. In the truth,
Mm-hmm.
go out there every day and speak, eating pork.
Being defiled. Wow.
Maybe they need more time. I don't know, but you're gonna find yourself in a constant conflict because you're going out there and let's say somebody in the congregation out there says, "Well, teach me a dietary law. Can we eat pork?" And you know in your mind you eat pork, but you got to teach them the law, right? So now you're in conflict. So that's why the scripture says it's like a two-edged sword, right?
Come.
It cuts you too. Because we do some of the things we're telling our people not to do according to the law, and we end up doing it. We all in private eating our pork and sneaking it here, and then come to the high holy day. Oh, what? Yo, how about something? Right?
Work out your own salvation
That's right.
with fear and trembling.
Right, huh?
Come.
So, but that affects all of us. Me
It
too.
does. Everyone's
You know what I'm saying?
affected.
Everybody's affected by it. But I learned over the years, you practice.
Right.
That's why you practice, because some of us need that practice out. Understand? Some of us need it. Okay?
John,
So, go ahead.
we're at verse 23. But every man in his own order, Hamashiach the first fruits, afterward they that are Hamashiachs at his coming.
Right, okay, so that was it on 23, right?
Yeah.
So Yahweh Shai is the first fruit. But then, after that, everybody else that is coming, right?
Right.
Okay? James 1:18. Somebody get Acts 26:23 for me. Yakanan, Acts 26:23 real quick.
James
Go
1:18.
ahead.
Of his own will he begat us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits.
What are we going to be?
A kind of first fruits.
See, Yahweh Shai is looking for the first fruit now.
Hallelujah. Of his creatures.
That's right. And everybody is not going to fit that category. Con?
Con.
He's looking for Israel first. But even amongst Israel, everybody's not going to fit that category of the first fruit.
Right.
Because they're wicked as hell, huh? And Yahweh Shai can't use you, you know what I'm saying? You ever see a rotten apple? Are you going to eat a rotten apple? Hell no. You're going to cast it out. So there's a lot of rotten apples amongst our people. And you're going to bring the first fruit and you a rotten apple. No. You got worms and everything in you. Yahweh Shai don't want that. So we're a kind of first fruits to the Most High. That's what he's looking for. Going up. Is that it?
That was it.
Yeah. And so who got Acts 26:23? Go ahead, Yakana.
The book of Acts 26:23. That Yahweh Shai HaMashiach should suffer, and that he should be the first.
Who's going to be the first fruit?
He should be the first.
Mashiach Yahweh Shai.
That should rise from the dead.
He was the first risen from the dead.
And should,
Hold on. Yahweh Shai was the first man to ever die, right? You know, crucified for the sins of the nation of Israel and then be resurrected. He was the first.
Con.
Nobody else has attained that. Ever. Yahweh Shai was the first one. Okay, going up.
that Hamashiach Yahweh Shai should suffer, and that he should be the first that should rise from the dead, and should show light unto the people and to the Gentiles.
Right, okay. Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, the first fruit. Con. Get Jeremiah 2 and 3. But now, Yakanan, get Acts 2 and 1.
Okay.
Because remember we said they put that word Pentecost in there. That's, you know, that the Latin word, the Greek word, Pentecost.
Mm-hmm.
But it just represents first fruits. Con. Now, you don't read Pentecost in the Old Testament. Why? Okay? Because in the Old Testament it gives you the exact understanding of what the first fruit is, but when you come to the New Testament, it gives it a different word, right?
Okay.
It's talking about the same feast, right? And so we're going to read that.
This is the book of Jeremiah.
Right. Tell me that. Yeah.
Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 3.
Go on.
Israel was holiness unto Yahweh, and the first fruits.
What was Israel?
And the first fruits.
Israel is what?
The first fruits.
Not a white man.
Israel is the first fruits of
Chinese, Japanese.
Israel.
Israel was holiness unto Yahweh.
Maybe Ham, the African, maybe Ham.
Israel was holiness unto Yahweh.
Arabs, maybe Israel's the first fruits. I don't know. Who?
Israel
Right.
was holiness unto Yahweh, and the first fruits of his increase.
So how come the churches don't teach that? It's right there. It's telling you, right? But they want to teach the whole world, right? Okay? Yeah, that's in Jeremiah, but we just read it in the New Testament too.
Right.
In James 1:18. So, I mean, you can't, without people is something else, right? So I'm going to show you the Christians don't have understanding of the scriptures. Okay? And what, go ahead, was that it?
Let me read the rest. All that devour him shall offend. Evil shall come upon them, saith Yahweh.
So evil shall come upon them, saith the Most High. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Acts 2 and 1. Got that, Yakana?
The book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 1. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place.
See? So, Yaquab asks, how do we worship, how do we celebrate the Pentecost of first fruits today in our captivity? Okay? Now, during, of course, in Acts, we were under what occupation?
Roman
occupation,
yeah.
huh? But were we still celebrating Yaquab? The Pentecost, we were still celebrating it, huh? Okay, we were still celebrating it, huh? That law is still in effect. The ceremonial laws are still in effect. I got news for you. The Most High celebrates, His commandments. In the spiritual world, the Most High celebrates all His commandments. Now, the Sabbath too. The Most High, the angels, celebrate the Sabbath. What are we doing down here? Fighting going on in the damn corners. Come on. Don't make no sense. Right? All right? So, we have to begin to do it down here too. Because what the Most High give us is patterned after what's done first in the spiritual world.
Right, in heaven.
In heaven. And then Most High brings it down to us in the earth. So we're not doing what we're supposed to do. That's why the earth's in chaos. The earth's in chaos because of us. The nations are over us because of us. Understand?
Con.
We're not in our land because of us. You know what I'm saying? The nations rule over us because of us. We ruined it for our own selves. Huh?
On the bottom.
And the Most High said the earth is literally upside down. That's why when Yahweh Shai comes, he's going to turn the earth upside right. You read that in Isaiah, right? He'll turn it back upright again. The earth is upside down. Look at a true map. What you see now, these maps are all wrong. Look at a map made, let's say, during the Dark Ages, right? Coming up to the Middle Ages, around 14th, 15th century, and you see those maps are different. Okay, those maps are different.
That's by design, right?
That's by design. Because the Most High turned the earth upside down. Why? Who's ruling? An upside down man, a contrary man. So the Most High had to turn it upside down so it could fit his negative, because the Most High gave him this time to rule. So it has to fit his negative spirit. And everything Esau does is what? Contrary. Opposite, upside down. So when Yahweh Shai come back, he's going to do what? Ultimately turn the earth good. Turn the earth upside right again. So that our vibration can fit, the earth. This is why the scriptures read, he's going to bring water into the desert. He's going to bring, the trees are going to, everything's going to bring back its fullness. The fullness of the earth's going to come back. With Esau, it's like, not there now. Okay? Everything is dead. Right, go ahead.
That was it on that.
That was it on that? And Yochanan finished. Okay, read a little bit more of that, Yochanan.
And suddenly there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them clothed in tongues like as of fire, and it sat upon each of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit.
Now, okay, so Yochanan. All right, finish that Yochanan.
And began to speak with other tongues, and the Spirit gave them utterance.
So now, Yaquab, what happened during that circumstance? And what were they doing? What were they celebrating? Which you already know. But I'm saying they were celebrating the first fruits. And the condition was they had to do what? Be on one accord. To get what? That comforter, the spiritual power that came down like cloven tongues. So imagine a cloven tongue coming down, type of fire, cloven tongue coming down, and the whole 12 were getting that. They were filled with the Holy Spirit. But they had to be on one accord. It couldn't be, the disciple couldn't say, well, man, I got my own camp. I can't come with you. I got my own camp. As a matter of fact, I don't even believe what you say. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? Other disciples over here couldn't say, look, man, I can't salute you because I got a camp over here. It couldn't be like that. It had to be on one accord. Then that's when spiritual power comes. Nobody's getting spiritual power now. Imagine that melee out there they had, what was it, Missouri?
Yeah.
It was in Missouri. And imagine they had spiritual power, what they would do with one another's spiritual power. It would be crazy, wouldn't it? So you think your house is going to really give us spiritual power now? We're not even right, huh? And these are brothers who've been in the truth for a while, right? So if they're not right, how is your house going to give you spiritual power? You would kill one another with it. So I don't see how should I give us spiritual power on this side, right? Because we got to come together on one accord. That was the example that Yahweh Shai was showing us what we should be doing on the day of Pentecost. Forsake not the coming together in unity. And that's power, huh? Just by us doing that is power. All we got to do is go to the Most High and Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai says, what's bound on earth will be bound in heaven. Come. And he said, Peter, I shall give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven.
That's right.
And what you ask for in Yahweh Shai's name, it shall be given you. But of course, there are conditions before you get that. We got to come together on one accord. And that's what's keeping Israel apart. That the pride, the disunity, right? Not coming together the way we're supposed to. That's what's keeping us apart. from getting that power. See, we know the truth, but we're not being examples, right, of it, of the gospel, of being examples of it. It's us. You know, it comes a certain point where you can't blame Esau no more, right? He just does what he does. He's the devil. He's going to do what he do.
Come.
But it's us keeping it back, our own power. Yeah. Okay, but like Tyler Price said, yeah. Like Tyler Price said, yeah. Yeah, it's 3 o'clock, right? Come. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, we're gonna end it at
He's reading.
no, he's finished with that. We're
Okay.
headed with Revelation 14:4.
No. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 14, verse 4.
Right.
These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Yahweh and to the Lamb.
Right. This is talking about the 144,000 chosen out of each tribe, 12,000 out of each tribe that are going to be the first fruits. Right. In other words, like of Israel, the leaders. Not that Mosai not only going to say 144,000. No, he's going to say, you know, like he said, 1/3 of the nation of Israel. But the 144,000 are going to be like a leadership.
Right.
In a leadership role. Right? And they're the first fruits.
Right. And the nations will come out of the loins of the 144,000.
The rest of the nation.
The rest of the nations.
Well,
right.
no, not just
Well,
144,000.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. You got the remnant, the elect.
Right.
And then the ones that are born into the kingdom.
Okay, there you go. They're going to come out of them.
Right.
Not just 144,000.
Not just the
Right.
144,000.
Right. No, right. So, but that's the leadership. But still, Yahweh Shai is saying they're the first fruits. Because you got to set the leadership first, right? Yeah, we got millions. Our people like the sand of the seashore, which can't be numbered. So you got to have leadership for them. So Yahweh Shai said, okay, you're going to be my leadership. 12,000 in each tribe.
Right.
And he said they're going to become like virgins. Understand? They're going to have to become on that level like a virgin, right? Clean. Right? Ready to serve the Most High, ready to serve our people. Right? And Yahweh Shai going to get in the spiritual power. You read the Apocalypse, tells you, Ezra seen the vision of one higher than the rest of the brethren, and he's given crowns on each of their heads. Yahweh Shai. Ezra seen that way back during the time of Ezra's time. The Most High gave him that vision. That Yahweh Shai will give them crowns, and they're going to wear white robes and all that. And also it says what? The 144,000 was seen at the throne of the Most High and Yahweh Shai. How about that? They're going to be taken to the throne.
God.
And they're going to come back with Yahweh Shai. When Yahweh Shai comes back, 144,000. Whoever they are, whoever the men, whoever they are, the Most High choose, they're going to come back with Yahweh Shai and with the angels.
Sure.
Show you they're going to be on the level of an angel, right, when they come.
God. Let me get this last
Okay.
verse. Verse 5, and
Yeah.
their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault. Like you were saying, before the throne
Right.
of Yahweh.
Before what?
Before the throne
Right.
of Yahweh.
That's literally, they're going to be before the throne. So the Most High is going to take some men and take them in the spiritual world. Okay? You ever read the Ezekiel the prophet? When he was taken by the angel and in the spirit, and the angel took him over the temple, and he flew over the temple with the angel. The angel said, look at these, look at these, look at these. Look how wicked they are. The abominations. Look how they serving idols. And Ezekiel was up there with the angels looking down in the temple, and he showed them all the abominations thereof.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Ezekiel 9:4. He said the angel came to write his inkhorn and said, look, all my people that don't have the mark, slay them. Men, women, old women, men, children, even little children, slay them. But the ones that have the mark of the Most High, right, preserve them. Don't lay a hand on them. Come?
Come.
So What is that mark? You gotta have that mark. Okay? Commandments, the faith, the gospel, Yahweh Shai, you gotta have that mark. And it's spiritually in you, got that mark. Okay? So that's it, right? Okay. Okay, so that's it. All praise to Yahweh Hashem, Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Kwam Yashalom.
Kwam Yashalom.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Okay, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
You want to come around here, y'all can. Okay, so you want. I thought you want to do it on the camera. But okay.
Yeah,